funny.
Hey everybody, what is going on? Simply Incredible Disc Golf back with Rebecca, aka Acebabieee.
Ace
The
baby.
adventure continues after what, a month and a half?
Month and a half. It's been a
Yeah.
lot that's happened.
So what have we been doing?
Oh my goodness. So much. So before I get into a lot of that, I do want to say that I am living up to my name, especially recently. I got two casual round aces very recently. So I got one during a practice round for Charlotte Ams. And I was practicing by myself, but a guy just happened to be walking by and going to practice that hole when I was practicing it. It was hole 9 at the course, and there's like water behind it. So if it wouldn't have gone in, it may have gone in the water. But anyway, we won't think about that. We won't worry about that. Anyway, and then I got my second ace in the last month yesterday. Um, Both of them were with a hex, and both of them were a forehand ace. So that is number 8 for Acebabieee.
That is 8 more than I have. Had to bring the calculator out there. Congratulations.
But you did it, so yeah.
No, I've got 0. So
You'll get one eventually. It'll
I
come.
told someone the other day, they were saying, well, if it's only like a hole less than 100 feet, does it even count? I said, I would count it if I'm throwing off the first tee into a practice basket at this point.
Yeah. Sounds like you need to maybe go to some more approach shot type courses. I haven't played very many of those. But they are really fun. And they
Yeah,
have a lot of like
Peaksview
short holes.
Peaksview is a very ace friendly place, and 200 plus rounds still haven't. But it's okay. It's gonna happen. No rush. No rush.
So both of my aces were with a hex. The first hex was given to me by Felix. He's one of the two main guys with Ace Run Pro, and I
Mm-hmm.
got that back in 2022. Have gotten a lot of birdies with that disc, but that was my first ace. And then the second hex, I actually got a little bit over a week ago from Mooglee Dyes, and it's absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous die. And I was playing with my sister yesterday, and in a casual round, so she witnessed my second ace, so that was pretty cool. But it's
That's
just
awesome.
such a beautiful die, so it's really cool that it already has an ace to its name.
I mean, speaking of pretty dies, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to this later, but I just have to mention this. In one of your rounds, which we'll get to, you lost one of your discs, and the next day they got it back to you, which was the greatest video. You were so happy about that.
I
Was
was
that
so
also a
happy.
Moogly Dies?
Yes, I've had that one for such a long time. He gave it to me. I don't know how long ago it's been now.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like forever. But I have
That's a
tried
good
and
point.
tried and tried. I will try to save some of my aces for Worlds. I've tried to replace this MVP disc. Like I've tried to replace it with discs of the same plastic, of different weights, of different plastic, but the same disc. It's a
Mm-hmm.
wave,
Mm-hmm.
and to no avail. And so when I threw this disc, I knew that there was water up ahead, but I wasn't worried about it going in the water because I felt pretty confident about my shot. And like I wouldn't have thrown it if I had known. It ended up acting a little bit more flippy than normal, which I think has kind of been happening with that disc, but it's still like not replaceable. And yeah, Andy and I went in and tried to find it and went in the water. It was pretty deep. And after maybe a minute of searching, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty positive I'm never getting this disc back. But I did my due diligence, and we still stayed there for a while, tried to use a rake, tried to rake down at the bottom where how far we could get. And nothing. So it was a little discouraging, but I also had gotten to the point pretty quickly. I was like, this happens in disc golf. You have to accept it, especially if it's a disc that you use all the time. Like the likelihood that you would lose this disc is pretty high, considering I use it all the time. Like it's my main flick disc. Um, so yeah, I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna get it back, and then sure enough, I show up. I'm at the Majestic. I show up to Blue Ribbon Pines the next morning, and the starter sees me. It's a long time before my tee time. I'm there with Andy because he tees off like an hour and 10, 20 minutes before me, so he hadn't teed off yet. And the starter is like, "Oh, are you Rebecca?" And I said yes, and then he had the disc for me, and I was floored. I couldn't believe that they had found the disc, and he didn't know exactly who had found it. And so I told him like, hey, if you see them, please tell them thank you. And of course I said thank you on my video online. But man, I was I was just so blown away that they found that disc. I couldn't believe it.
Now that's four forehand, four backhand.
Yes, had four forehand aces and four backhand aces.
Symmetry.
Yeah, so pretty cool. So I like staying pretty balanced. I was balanced there for a while because I had my first three aces were tournament aces, and then my next three aces were casual round aces. But then now I've got two more casual round aces afterwards. So I guess however many casual round aces I get after that, I'll have to get that many tournament aces, I think, just to keep things even. So the discs that I have aced with so far, I've actually had two doubles. So I've aced with the Passion twice. One was a backhand, one was a forehand. I've aced with the Hex twice, which of course both of those were forehand aces. I've also aced, my first ace was with the Prodigy F5. My second ace was with a factory second Innova Mako 3, I believe. The third, again, tournament ace was beautifully dyed Mooglee Dyes disc, Luna by Discraft. And then it was Passion. Then I got an ace with the Neptune disc Splash, the putter bass plastic. And then my last two, of course, were the Hex. So those are all of my ace discs.
That's pretty awesome. One of these days I'm going to get one, but gosh, so jealous, so jealous.
Yeah, so I just wanted to start everything out by talking about my very exciting ace, and of course we brought up finding the disc, and then there's another very exciting thing that happened that has never happened before, and this is from a video that I took when Andy and I were in Wisconsin and played this really pretty course, and there was a hole that you threw down like straight downhill 550 plus feet, and I threw the disc down it, and then I put a fun like snapping audio with it, and it is my first viral video. And surprisingly enough, I was very surprised by this. It actually went viral on Facebook. Believe it or not. So it has like 40,000 views on Instagram, which is a lot, obviously, but it got almost 2.2 million views on
That's
Facebook.
insane.
Yeah, and I've like met random people since, and somehow it's been like brought up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that video," but they had like no idea that it went viral. And I actually made a little bit of money from it. I haven't been able to do ads on Facebook. Like I didn't even have the option to sign up for it. But I guess if you get so much like popularity or video or whatever. So I couldn't sign up. I wasn't able to sign up for it until I got 1 million views. So I missed out on all of that. But I got like $60 from it, which I'm sure I'm not going to get anywhere near that amount from any other videos that I create anytime soon. But who knows, if I could start doing that, then that would be amazing, because I love creating content and I put a lot of pride in what I do. And so being able to make money from the content that I do would be really awesome. And that was kind of my first taste of it. And it was exciting to have a viral video, obviously. The video in itself wasn't anything extremely special. It was just kind of funny and really short, but definitely not something that I would have thought would have gone viral.
Well, that's how Logan Paul got started, right there.
Is it?
But he's a viral sensation, and now you are too.
Now I am too. So I mean, kind of. I have my 15 minutes of fame or something, and now it's going back downhill. I have to wait for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're stuck on this channel again.
But I'll take it. Hey, I'm happy to be on this channel. It's positive, good vibes,
Yeah.
and you know, I'd rather be here than other even more popular places, especially
Wow.
if they're like negative and don't have like good energy.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that, I forgot I needed to
Yeah.
show people I have my Simply Incredible disc golf shirt on. We have Acebabieee and then the back. So he gave it to me at the Charlotte Am. So
Yeah.
I'm
And she's got her lotus on there too. If you guys noticed
Lotus
that.
flower logo.
Mm-hmm. I think it came out pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, I liked it. It fits really well too. So
Nice.
I've worn it a couple times
I mean, I love
since
these shirts. I love them so much.
yeah, they're really good, like the sports. Um, so anyway, that's all the kind of the pre-excitement stuff. And the last time we were on this podcast, I had just won my first A tier of the year. I've won other A tiers in previous years, but this was my first A tier of the year. Gotten second and third in a lot of things, so I was like, trying, but just not being able to follow through, finish it up with, 3 decent rounds or whatever I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the Music City Open, and of course I'm a 3-time champion in FA1 for that. The universe so far has not wanted me to play the Pro Music City Open last year because I got cancer, and this year because I got Lyme's disease. So I don't know what the universe is
Just,
saying. We'll see what happens next year.
just avoid that tournament altogether. Just
I
yeah,
know
that's a
it's
rest week.
sad
That's going to be
though.
a rest week.
Yeah. Well, it's sad because there's just, and I've said this before, there's just so many people in Tennessee, and especially like Nashville, Tennessee, that really support me and are awesome, great people, and I'd like to go there and like see them and everything. And so for that aspect of it, I would love to play the Music City Open. Um,
And he
but
picked
it,
up a worker yesterday. He does not play disc golf. I showed him the video, and he had seen it. That's
oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
that's awesome. And the Queen of Nashville.
Yes, I guess so. I guess that has to be my name. Um anyway, then on our way back to Florida, we were able to drop by and visit Will and Latricia Shoestrick. And I was able to have a pretty long putting competition with their young son Liam.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a putting machine. I mean, he just kept going and going and going and going. And yeah, that boy, it's going to be very interesting to see as he grows up, and what he ends up doing with disc golf and then other sports as he gets older. He's definitely going to be a force, I think. And then since we visited, they had a little baby girl, Lily. So that's really, really awesome. I haven't been able to meet her yet, but it was really nice being able to drop by and visit them. And then after that, we made it back to Florida and were there for 2 whole weeks, which seemed like a really long time, and it went by like that because
Yep.
it was extremely busy nonstop the entire time. My first After my first like month long of being gone for disc golf, we got back. It was like 6 days that we were back, and it was nothing. I mean, it was busier in the 6 days that we were back than in the month and a half that we had been gone prior to that, and just traveling all the time. So this 2 weeks was definitely no exception. It was jam packed of disc golf lessons, a bunch of other things. Um, I'll get into a lot of that, but I will say that during this time that we've been away, I have reached my highest rating ever.
Yep.
So I bumped up, not this last change because it stayed the same this last change, but the one before, which would have been, I guess, May maybe, yeah, May.
Yeah.
It jumped up 4 points to 880, which is currently my highest rating ever on PDGA so far.
Nice.
So that was pretty exciting. Then also in my time back, I received a lot of really awesome merch and fundraiser items. So I got 4 new polos and like shirts and stuff from Sunday Swagger. So I have affiliate link for them, and all of my links for everything. I just updated them the other day. It's on Instagram in my bio. There's like a link tree link that you
Hmm.
click on, and then it shows you a bunch of links. If you press on those, they'll automatically go to like the correct links, because some of them are like affiliate links and you have to actually use my link
Oh,
going to the website, so it's like sundayswagger.com/Rebecca a million numbers and
hmm.
whatever else.
Yeah. So I'm
um,
looking at the list you sent me. Sunday Swagger, Grundy tie dye.
yeah, so he sent me 4 towels. 2 of them were the ones that I've had before, and I use them all the time. If you watch my videos, you'll see my
Hmm.
tie-dye towels that I use. So 2 of them were the ones that the type of towels that he's used before, and then the other 2 were actually, oh man, I did the balloon thing again.
There the
Like
balloon.
much longer towels. They're kind of skinny and long towels, and they're a different. There's like a waffle material or something, and those were really nice as well. They kind of catch on things easily, but they all 4 of the towels, both designs, do a really good job of cleaning off my disc, removing the water, like soaking up the water, and they just look really pretty. So,
That's
and he
awesome.
also gave a chalk bag, but I'm very sad to announced that it was one of those long like chain things. It's like circular and you like screw it on and you screw it really far.
Yep.
Well, somehow those ones seem to be like really good, like they don't come undone. But
Hmm.
just this past weekend at the Majestic, it somehow came undone and that chalk bag fell off of my bag. And yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be getting that back.
Yeah,
It was
I
really
had
cool
one of
though.
those hooked to my Bushnell the other day, and I had my Bushnell in a little bag. And I got to 18, I was like, my Bushnell is gone. I had to. Luckily, it's only on 17, but I understand because that little thing it just came undone.
Yeah, but I love how like big around they are, because it's
Hmm.
like you can fit so many things and it's like doesn't like hit into things on your bag and
Yep.
everything. But yeah, I didn't know that they'd be a problem with like coming undone like that. So I'm gonna have to figure something out.
See,
Um
drink, rinse, repeat.
yeah, so for Drink Rinse Repeat, that's fundraiser porcelain minis that I had made.
Hmm.
So they're all handmade. Every single one is individual. There's no one that's exactly like another.
That's
And
cool.
I recorded a video of an unboxing of that, and I have yet to put it up online, but hopefully before too long I'll have those out so people can purchase those and I can get them sent to people. And then also I should be set up at the Fly Mart at the Des Moines Challenge, selling those and my discs as well. Although I do not have very many discs left. And then I also have my pins, which I do have those with me, but can't even tell which one's okay. This one's gold, the gold one, and that one's silver. So you
Hmm.
can kind of see them.
Can you talk for 1 second? I got to run to the other room really, really quick. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
go ahead. I'll take over. I'll tell them all the bad things I know about you. All right. So, does anyone have any questions? All right. So, um, next, shortly after I got back, and in this podcast, I'm kind of going over a lot of different things. I'm not just in previous podcasts. We've kind of gone over a specific tournament, and we've broken down each round and the ratings that I've gotten in that round, and we've talked about how I felt about the tournament, my mental game, things like that. But this one is going to be very broad and like kind of everything that's going on. And one very interesting thing that I kind of realized, or it became very apparent to me when I was preparing for this podcast, because usually I don't have much time to prepare for the podcast, but I wanted to do a little bit better job this time and kind of like I have notes and stuff, because there was just so much time in between our last podcast to this one, and there's been so much that has happened.
Mhm.
And I kind of did an outline of everything that had happened, and I did that from my photos because yeah, I just sent it to him like literally right before we started. But I created this timeline from my photos because I don't remember everything that I do because there's so many different things. And I was working on it for a pretty long time, probably like an hour and a half or more maybe. And the last podcast we had was the middle of May, and I had just gotten through the end of May, essentially, like the very beginning of June, in that amount of time. And I was just blown away with how many things I had fit in such a short amount of time. And it put things into perspective for me a little bit because it's easy to feel like, oh man, like I didn't get that reel out that I wanted to, or I didn't, make this content, or I didn't do this fun thing that I wanted to do, or, or didn't get this work done that I wanted to get done, or project, or whatever it is. Or I didn't practice as much in this area as I wanted to, or play this many courses. And then I look at all of the things that I've done over a 3 week period, and I was just blown away. I was like, wow, I do too many things. So that helped a little bit with maybe having grace for myself, and realizing, hey, I'm doing a lot pretty much every single day, and staying very busy, and enjoying it, and having a good time as well. But yeah, it definitely put things into perspective to see everything just laid out in such a short amount of time. Daryl, I kind of told Daryl that, and he said that I should keep like a daily journal or something. And I said, where's their time? Um,
Hey, on like I told you, online voice the chat, and you said you don't like voice to chat, and I agree. It comes off terrible most of the time.
I don't love it, but I think I could get better at
Mhm.
it. Yeah, it's just more of like choosing what it is that you want to do with the limited amount of time that you have.
Right.
And I think
Mhm.
that would be something. I do think that journaling, there's a lot of value in journaling. So
Mhm.
I would like to do it some more, even if it's just like a little bit every day. So that would be really good. But we'll see if I actually do that or not. But yeah, I mean, over the last few months, even if you just look at my UDisc, almost any time I was on my UDisc, I will have had usually about 30 rounds in 30 days at least, and sometimes even more than that.
Oh,
And over the last month and a half, I've had one day where I even played 3 rounds, like full rounds in one day.
wow. I mean, I was just going to mention you had two significant milestones recently. Was it 200 and 600? 200 and
Oh, yes. I'd forgotten about that. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Yeah.
chug it.
So I think I'm at So at on the same day for the same rounds, I thought this was so cool. I was like, I couldn't have even planned this better. It just happened to work out this way. And once I realized it, I was like, I have to play a new course today, and it has to be on UDisc. And so on the day before the Charlotte AM started, two of the three courses I'd never played. Um, so in the one day, I was driving an hour and a half one way, so like 3 hours, or sometimes more, for like 4 out of the 5 days to get from South Carolina to Charlotte. So the day before, I did the long drive, got there, and I practiced the two courses. I mean, there it does it again.
There's the
Yay,
balloons.
balloons.
I don't know if
I
someone
practiced.
is hitting like or what makes that happen. I don't know.
It's I think when I do this,
Oh,
the two courses. I don't know. That's what it did before. Oh well, it didn't do it this time. So I had two more courses to get to 200, and I had two more rounds to get to 600 rounds on UDisc. So I went and played the two courses that I had never played before. So the first course I practiced was 599, and that's where I got my ace. And it was 199 different courses. And then the second course that I played was 600 rounds and 200 courses, which is really was just super awesome, really
That is
cool.
awesome.
Um, yeah, so I've played a lot of different courses and I haven't played that many duplicates because you think of a lot of people, it's like they've played a lot of rounds, but it's often at the same, 5 courses maybe. Um, but I've been able to experience so many different courses, so many different areas. I've played tournaments all over the country, specifically more on the East Coast. But yeah, I've been able to see a very broad range of courses, topography, style, designs, how tournaments are run in different areas, all that. So it's given me a very unique perspective, I think, that a lot of people don't get to experience. So that's been really fun.
That's awesome. Oh, where's that on my list?
All right. Well, my
That's on
next
me.
thing that I had to talk about was something a little bit sad. But so when I got back to Florida, I reached my 1 year anniversary from finding out that I had cancer. That was from the date of the surgery because that was May 15th last year. And we had known for about a month and a half that I had like a big tumor, and they thought that there was a good chance that it was cancerous because over half of it had solidified. So I had the surgery on May the 15th. They figured out that it was indeed cancer and that I also had endometriosis, which is in some ways worse than cancer. And so that was it was just such a weird feeling. And Daryl, I'm sure you can relate to this because you've gone through a lot of surgeries and health issues, and like I have my entire life as well. Maybe
Hmm.
nothing quite as intense as this. But it was definitely emotional. It brings a lot of emotions. There's not just like happiness, there's like sadness, there's some trauma from it too. There's just a lot of different things involved in getting something like cancer. So yeah, that was the 1 year anniversary, and just it brings you to a time of like thinking over the entire year and how much I fought with cancer, but then also how much I fought after I was able to like get out of bed, to get back
Hmm.
to playing disc golf. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago that I even felt like I got back to a point to where I was similar to where my game was well before cancer, like before surgery and stuff, because I started going downhill many, many months before I even figured out I had the tumor because I was constantly in pain. Like very severe pain, like someone's stabbing me at all times. And, I'm like playing disc golf and stuff. So there were definitely a lot of things that I did to mess up my game because I would have to compensate for the pain, whether I even realized it or not. My body was just dealing with a lot. Um, yeah, and for anyone who is curious, I do have GoFundMe that's still up for like expenses from all of that, and just want to say that I really, really appreciate everyone that's donated to that so far. But there's definitely still a significant amount of debt from surgery, from cancer treatment, from doctor's visits, from all of that stuff. So, yeah. You want to say anything about all of your like some of your medical struggles that you've gone through? Because I know that you've
I
you've
mean, I've had
experienced a
48
lot of that as well.
operations. I was born with one. Yeah, I was born with one kidney. It didn't work, and they actually found out because both of my legs were crooked. Now, this is back in the 70s. Before they had the technology to be like, oh, he's not going to have a kidney when he's born. And so they sent me to South Carolina, actually, and that's how they actually found out. So since then, both of my legs have been broken and straightened, and
Mhm.
lots of operations, hip replacement, all that fun stuff. Two kidney transplants. I was on dialysis for 20 some odd years. But
Yeah,
the
it's
thing that I
crazy.
always think of is like every day is like, hey, I get to go get up and do stuff that I mean, most people that's been down my road never got to do. So I'm blessed. I am blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, and, and I said this as like because my original plan was to go to UVA and probably be a CPA or sports business, something like that. But as it is, I had a different path, and if it wasn't for that path, we would never have met. So there you go.
There you go. The universe.
It's the facts of life. It takes the good, it takes the bad, it takes them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Yeah. And it's all about what you do with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people, there are very few people that live a life where over the course of their life they have nothing very significant happen. I'd almost say
Mm-hmm.
nobody, but I've definitely have met and talked to some people who are like, I've never really had anything like bad happen in my life. Now maybe they're in like their mid to late 20s, but still, when I hear that, I'm like, oh man, I've had like so much crap happen in my life that was like
Yeah.
very traumatic or extremely painful, or health major health issues and stuff like that. And and
The
one
ones
thing
that
that
get
I
me is when,
go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll say the one thing that gets me about a lot of people is, they're healthy and they get a cold. Like I can't get a cold right now. I'm like, yeah, well, I really enjoy going to dialysis every day. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand it though, because even now, like if I'm about to do something and I get a cold, then I'm still like, okay, yeah, that stinks. So
Yeah,
they're both reasonable and important, but I agree, there's definitely differences. But it's all about how you look. You look at life, and you
mm,
decide to approach the difficult and the bad things that happen in life. Like, are you going to allow those things
I'm sorry, Mooglee.
like, how are you going to allow those things to impact your day to day? Are you going to be the victim? Because I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who are in the victim mentality, and it's like, well, I'm just not given, my life isn't conducive to having like a good life. I could definitely feel that way about life. I could be like,
Yeah,
man, there's just too
yeah,
many things that have been like put my way, and I'm just done. I'm giving up with it, you know?
yeah. Every once in a while,
So
I do get the "Are you kidding me today?" mentality,
I
but most
do
of the time, I'm like,
sometimes too.
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That was definitely Lyme's disease for me, believe it or not. It wasn't cancer. Cancer, I was like, okay, it's
hmm
fine. I can't do, we're going to keep trucking. We're going to get through this. Now, I did feel like I was going to die for like 3 weeks. So that was really bad and was not fun at all. Would not recommend. But, that was just, it sucked, but it came with the territory. And, but then less than a year later, to get Lyme's disease, I was just kind of like, really? you know, it's like,
yeah,
has life not been difficult enough the last year? Have I not fought enough? And now I'm gonna get Lyme's disease. But I mean, I dealt with it all right. I got over it, but there were definitely multiple days where that was kind of my thought from time to time throughout the day. And I was just like, really? That was my thought. It was like, really? Life.
yeah,
Can't we just do something else right now? Like
yeah.
maybe go have a Sunday.
Because you feel it. You have that feeling like I'm making so much progress. I feel like things are clicking, things are happening, and now this little thing just jumps up and bites you in the butt and sets you back 3 steps. Like, come on.
Yeah. And I think we talked about that before too, because it was at a point to where I was just feeling like my backhand was starting to click again. And I still
Yep.
haven't felt like I've gotten
Mm-hmm.
it back since then. Like I'm like right on the cusp of feeling like, okay, I think I'm about to like have this a little more figured out again. But it's been like 2 months since then. So
Yep. Yep.
And I've been playing a lot of disc golf. I've been playing a lot of casual rounds, practicing all those things. So anyway,
And if you want to see her, if you want to see her play around, me and her had a round.
yes, and we'll definitely talk about that more in part B of this, because this is episode 8. This is part A. We're gonna also do a part B just because
Yes.
there's so much to go over. And we want to try to keep this to closer to an hour. So you guys don't feel like, oh, it's gonna be 2 hours that we're watching this each time. So
Yes.
we'll try to be a little nicer to our viewers. um but another thing that I did is I've been doing, like, anytime I go back home, I try and at Florida, I try to do like some vitamin C infusions. About 4 months ago, I started this thing called EES. It's Energy Enhancement System. It's a frequency that is put out in like a, it's not a high dose per se, but it's just a high level of it. You're getting a lot of it. It's more of like a natural healing frequency. And there's a lot of science behind it. If you've heard of like grounding, and that's where your feet are touching the ground. And there's actually energy that rocks have, that the earth has, and everything. And it helps your body kind of, it's almost like a switch that turns on in your body that says, oh, we need to start healing. And so you can have current issues start healing. You can even have very old long-term injuries that didn't heal correctly that will start healing. I actually even experienced that. um, and I was skeptical going into it, more so. I was like, I don't really know if this is gonna work. I'm ever like the skeptic about things like that. So I was pretty impressed and happy with that. But that was one way that I was trying to, help me stay healthy, post cancer, and trying to make sure I'm doing like what I can. And an unfortunate aspect of the vitamin C infusions. So I've gotten a lot of those, and they are also very expensive, and it's all out of pocket because insurance will definitely not pay for something that they can't patent. Anyway,
That's
my
true.
body has started reacting very poorly to the vitamin C infusions, unfortunately. It's been like the last time I went, my wrist is still in pain from it. I have like a vein here. Like, I got the infusion here, and everyone's like, why did they do it there? Well, they tried like 4 times in my arm first, and it didn't work. And I don't want to do
Yep.
my right arm, especially lately, because I've been having such adverse reactions to these vitamin C infusions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the best way I can explain it is like I'm having an allergic reaction, and my veins are not
Really?
bursting. Like, I know they're not bursting, because if you know anything about IV infusions, is if they still have the vein, you like kind of press down on the IV tube, and you release it, and blood will come
Mm-hmm.
back out of the vein, and you know that,
Yep.
okay, we're still in my vein. It's not just going somewhere else.
Yep.
Well, my wrist and my arm swole up so big last time. It was extremely painful. It was extremely painful for days, and it was even pretty painful for weeks afterwards. And that was just from one infusion. And I think maybe some of the fluid is like leaking, maybe outside of it, even though it didn't burst. And other things are happening. So I don't know what is happening with
Yeah.
my body, but I think it's telling me, hey, we can't really be doing this anymore. I don't know the reasons for it. Vitamin C is definitely very good for your body and for healing and just for staying healthy in general. So, even if like it doesn't help with cancer specifically, it definitely helps with overall health.
Yep.
So I'm sad about that. So we'll see what I do moving forward, but probably won't be getting any more vitamin C infusions anytime soon. So I was getting like 50 grams each time, high dose vitamin C infusions. So yeah. Do
So
you do
next
you
the EES. Did you ever
Yeah, so
talk about that
EES,
one? Or no?
that was what I
Mhm.
just talked about. The EES was the
Okay.
energy
Because I
enhancement
was looking at the one
system.
before with the vitamin C.
Yeah, yeah. So those were both kind of together.
Okay.
I'm like very briefly looking at my notes and not doing a great job of following them
Yeah.
exactly.
And now we get to the lessons.
Yep. So when I was back, pretty much every single time I get back in town, I have a couple people that have ongoing disc golf lessons with me. I had 4 different people and 2 different groups of lessons. So one is I just did the balloon thing again when I did like 2. So one is
I
a
was literally looking at my notes. I missed the whole thing.
well, everyone out there got to see all the balloons. We're just having a party here all the time, nonstop.
I don't get any
Let's
balloons.
go,
Come on, Tim.
baby.
Come on, give me a balloon.
Party. Okay. Anyway, to interrupt our normally broadcasted show.
Yes, yes. I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed the balloons. I missed them. Doggone it.
Yes, we've got a lot of balloons. So it's just a party here with you guys. Thanks for being here and partying with
Balloons.
us. Anyway, so the first is a mother-daughter group, and I've probably given them like 5 or 6 lessons at this point. And it's been really cool to see them progress, especially the daughter. The mother has like some mobility issues, but she's still doing like really well. Both of them, and we've played like a few holes before, but we've never played the whole 9-hole course that we're at. So the last time we played, we practiced, we just played the whole 9-hole course and like did a lesson with
Mm-hmm.
that. And that was really fun. And it's been cool to see them get better and improve. And then the second group was a guy that he actually just saw me giving lessons to the mother-daughter group like a couple months ago or a few months ago. And he saw me throw at one point. He was like, "Man, you're like really good." And I was like, "I'm here giving like lessons to these people." And he was like, "Oh, do you give lessons?" And so we like exchanged information, and he ended up getting a lesson from me. And it was just him the first time, and then the second time he came with his son, and then now the third time he came with one of his really good friends that usually is the guy that like beats everyone in the group, but he kind of just been playing for a long time and wanted some suggestions, so like worked with him. And my disc golf lessons take up more time than just the lessons because I like video the whole time and do a bunch of slow-mo, and then I give those videos to my clients afterwards on like Google Drive so they can watch them. And especially if it's like earlier on in like the first lesson, although I haven't done this yet with that one guy, but I'll like take a bunch of screenshots of different positions during the throws, and I'll like put arrows and make comments about the angles or the place it needs to be or what they're doing, or if they're like shrugging their shoulder, like different things to focus on. And I'll go over pretty much all of that stuff in the lesson, and I'll do different things to kind of help them. It's a lot to have 2 people to give lessons to, because it's hard enough, I feel like, to focus on one person, but then to have 2 people. But it was useful in one sense because oh, thank you. Because the one guy, he kept like reaching up really high, and I had his friend put his hand at a certain spot location, and I was recording, and then I had him like reach back at that location where his friend was like holding his hand, and I did the opposite for like the other friend. So both of those guys are probably in their like 50s or something like that. I don't know, a little bit
Man, they're
a little bit
old.
later. I think you're the only one here that can say that. um, they could even be a little bit older. I'm not sure. I think they're in their 50s, but I'm not sure. But it's been really fun to help them, especially the one guy. I've just seen so much improvement from him in the time that I've had him as a client. He can be kind of like stubborn with wanting to change some
Thank you,
things.
Michael.
He's like, "Oh, I've like fixed that," and then I'll show him like, "Well, actually, you're still like doing this," and we'll rework on it, and then he'll like improve on it. So it's been fun to work with him. And then it was also a lot of fun to get to work with his son. These kids, they're just so limber, and all their joints move so easily, and so
Yeah.
it was it was awesome. He went to like being, it was really cool to see his progress. I mean, all their progress. It's fun. For me as a teacher, it's a lot of fun to see people have that aha moment where things click and they're like, ah, I got it. Or they like, especially when they feel it, when it has to do with disc golf, like you want to kind of be robotic and a little bit mechanical with certain things when you first start working on it. And you need to like when you're changing form, you need to like not care at all about where the disc goes. You need to
Hmm.
focus on, okay, what am I working on right now? Did I do that? And that's very hard. And then once you feel like you've got it, then it's, what does that feel like? What does it feel like? Because if you can get that feeling where in your bones where you're like, yes, that's exactly what it's supposed to feel like, that's a good, that's a great feeling. And you can know the next time when you get it. um
Hmm.
that's especially useful for when I encourage people to do what's called mirror work. We've even talked about this some because I gave you like a really short like disc golf lesson a couple weeks ago, I guess, from your forum, and I really encourage people to do mirror work because then you can see what you're doing. It's the only way that in real time you can see what you're doing and correct it right there, and you can try to figure out, okay, what does doing this feel like? I can see it. I can see if I'm doing it correctly. What does that feel like? So that's very useful.
Yeah, one thing you just mentioned about teaching the kids, your face is the same face I would make when I taught kids mixed martial arts, and you see their face when when it clicks. When they
Mhm.
get that form just right. With me, it was martial arts youth disc golf, and I was like, I would get that same reaction because it made me feel so good to see how good they felt when they got it. I was like, oh my gosh, such a great feeling.
That is one thing
I
we
miss
have in
that a lot.
common. We have both taught kids in martial arts.
Oh
I
yes,
did for a
yeah, I think
long
we talked about
time.
that.
Yep. I don't think I ever mentioned that I taught though, but I did a lot of teaching in the kids
Mhm.
class because once you got up to a certain level, they would have two separate classes. They would have the kids class or the
Yep.
younger levels, and then they
Mhm.
would have the adult or higher level class. And so we would always get there early for the kids class, and we would help lead drills, help
Yep.
teach katas, all those sort of things. And then we'd have our class later on where we'd
Mhm.
get to have our fun.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
But yeah,
I do miss working with the kids. The adults, not so much. The kids, yes.
yeah. And it depends on if the adults are more like willing to learn, but you're right, adults are much more stuck in their ways
Yep.
often. That's why it's so much harder for adults to change.
Hmm.
um, Even though our brains are very much plastic and they can change, and
Hmm.
a lot of research on that, which is super cool to know actually, because it's like, no, I'm not, this isn't me, this isn't who I have to be. If I choose, if I want to grow, if I want to learn something, or if I want to improve like my character, the way I think, or whatever, that can be done. It's hard work, it's painful, but it can be done. But anyway, I had the same exact feeling when I was a tutor. So I tutored math. I was like a professional tutor. My half of the year between undergrad and graduate school, I had it off, but I was like a professional tutor for my undergrad school. And I tutored chemistry and math. And math was definitely my favorite, though. I got a minor in math. And yes, neuroplasticity. Um, anyway,
You get dibs on
math was
big
my
words.
favorite. And I loved being able to change the way that I was teaching or presenting it to, um, in order to work with the person and the way that their mind worked.
Hmm.
Because you find that some people didn't learn things a certain way, they would need a different method. And that challenge to me is super fun and really rewarding, and I love being able to help people. So it's kind of like the best of all worlds wrapped up into one. You get to help people, you get to see someone else be excited about something when it clicks, when they
Hmm.
understand that math problem, they understand that theory, and then they're able to do it on their own. They
Yep.
don't need you anymore. They figured it out. So it's really exciting.
Zone Sporting Goods
Yes.
officially put up 2 of your apparels. Do tell.
Mhm. Yep. So, so Sunday Swagger, I just have like an affiliate account with them, and I
Mhm,
love their material. They're great. But Zone Sporting Goods, the really really cool thing about being sponsored by Zone Sporting Goods is that I've been able to create a lot of designs myself. Like I spent hours upon hours upon hours working on different apparel designs over the off season and before everything started. And I think they got like 4 of those designs to me. And there were some like tweaks that I kind of wanted to make afterwards, but they're awesome. I absolutely love them. And they put 2 of those designs, I believe it's 2 anyway, up on online on their website. And they also have where you're supposed to use like a particular, I don't think it matters if you buy my designs, but if you buy other designs, they do want you to go through like a particular link. It's
mhm,
really, it's kind of dumb. I don't love it, but it is what it is.
mhm,
I'm not sure if they're I actually do think that there is a coupon code with this, but again, it's all in the link tree on my Instagram.
mhm.
And, maybe we can put it in update it in the bio, because I don't think I've updated some of the things that I need to update for you,
Yeah,
Daryl.
yeah, and like that.
Um,
I know that one you have not mentioned to me yet, so you just let me know. We'll have it down below.
yeah. So that's Zone Sporting Goods. So that's pretty exciting. Glad that they were able to put up those designs. So yeah, so if you want one of the apparel designs that I created, then go to Zone Sporting Goods or go to my Instagram, my link tree, and click on the Zone Sporting Good link and check it out.
Hmm.
I have a graphic design minor from undergrad, and that is my graphic design minor in work in there's some word for it, but I can't
In
think of
action.
it. In action, that's it. In action.
See, Mooglee, I know big words too.
Neuroplasticity. I read an
Eh,
entire book about pretty much about neuroplasticity.
have you read any books about action? I don't think so.
Well, joke's on you because I've actually read books about golf that are very relatable to disc golf. So,
Oh,
yeah.
let's see. Now, let's see. We got 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we go a tiny bit over, that's fine. But yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I can get into some of like the day. I wrote down some dates
I
of
was like, now
things
we got where we actually participated in disc golf.
like they. But there were a lot of disc golf things peppered in before. Anyway,
Oh,
so we'll start with May 17th, which was
Todd
very
also
shortly
has
after
a
I got back.
graphic design major at Is it Bowling Green State? Is that what that is? BGS? Bowling Green State?
89. Nice.
All right.
So, so May 16th had a casual round at Holloway with Christian and Andy. Then May 17th, I had a disc golf lesson. And all of these days I had other things that I was doing too, but these are just kind of like the disc golf bullet points pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
May 18th was so I got back to Florida and I had 2 weeks there, but I by no means took those weeks off. I had tournaments both weekends. So the first was the Women's Global event, which I definitely wanted to do because I did not get to participate in it the only other time that it's happened since I've started disc golf. Um, and I played the Florida Hummingbird, which was actually the second largest women's global event in the country. So that was really cool. Well, in the world, I'm pretty sure. So that was pretty cool. We had just under 100 competitors. It was
Wow.
2 rounds, one day. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, wow, is that many competitors? That's awesome.
Yep. So that many women, it was really cool. I love women's only events. When I first started playing a bunch of tournaments, I was like, oh man, like I don't really think I like women's only events because like I just like everybody to be there. But then I realized no, women are like not cared about in most tournaments. And
Yep.
so when you have a women's only tournament, you can actually feel like, oh, they actually like took the time to do a couple things that are pretty useful to have as a woman in disc golf. They actually care about the layout. It's not like, let's just slap the women on this layout and it's not relevant to them really at all in their distances, but we'll put them there and we'll pair them with like MA1 players so their ratings can just be completely terrible.
Hmm.
And or other things like even being rated against like MA2 or even MA3 sometimes it's just not good depending on the course. Because if you have a course
Right.
that is like just outside of our distance reach, it's like right here, we're here, we're having a circle two for birdie every single time. But these guys can have like not great form and throw it 320 30 feet plus, easy. And so all they have to do is get it near the basket. But it's like we're trying our hardest throwing 100% with our drivers and still having circle two putts. So you can pretty much guarantee you're gonna not have a great rating on courses like that.
Hmm.
um so I love women's only event, especially the women's global event. They put so much time and effort into this event. I love the fact that they have that. I almost wish it was every year, but then I also understand that like they wouldn't be able to plan as much and put as much into it if it weren't every 2 years. So for that aspect, I am kind of thankful that it is every 2 years. I think it would be cool maybe if we came up with a second women's only event that was every other year and was in the off year of the other. So we'd have women's global event, other women's event the next year, women's global event. So, the
Hmm.
people that are organizing it are like separate people, but
That'd
I
be
guess
cool.
maybe it would end up being the same people, but who knows? Maybe we'll do it. Maybe I'll start something with that
There you
at
go.
some, who knows? The sky's the limits. So, um, let me see what details I had about that. I didn't
Lightning
play
delay day one.
extremely. Yeah, it was a lightning delay. I didn't play extremely well, although my event average was still 11 points over my rating. It was 891, but it did not feel good at all. And
Hmm.
that's with having really good ratings because it was a women's only event. So it just felt worse because it was, yeah, there were so many birdie opportunities. It was like I could not get an easy birdie to save my life, but I got these ridiculous, extremely hard birdies. Like these birdies that nobody else got, I got. And I got an eagle on one hole. Now,
Oh,
granted, it was a
nice.
very soft eagle, but I got it. I mean, always say it was a beautiful. It was like the most perfect shot ever. So it was in like max distance flick. It was so pretty, but it was still a very like light eagle. So I got things like that, which were super difficult. But then I couldn't get the easiest like 150, 200 foot birdie, like pretty obvious line, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel great about that, but I really enjoyed the event. I love getting to see my ladies. I love getting to play with all of them and just to see so many women disc golfers together at one place, enjoying the sport that they love, enjoying the other women, and for a lot of these women's, they probably don't play really any other events. And part of that is because just women aren't really given a place in a lot of tournaments, or there are just so few women that participate. And part of that is because there are no accommodations for women, really, like bathrooms, or we don't have a good layout, or whatever. So I get that, but it's really cool to see a lot of them out, for those sort of things. So then I had 2 rounds on the 18th, and then they see it did it again.
I saw the balloons that time.
And it's always when I say two and I put up two fingers, but it doesn't do it every time. So I don't know exactly what the key is. Maybe
I
it has
guess
to
they
be a
just
certain
want to
amount of
have a
time.
little delay in between, maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe so. So that was May 18th, May 9th. So that was 2 rounds. May 19th, I played 3 casual rounds in one day. And I cannot remember the last time I did that. So I played, my first casual round was with Josh Henson, and there are like 2 Josh Hensons in the area, maybe 3. And he was one. I never played disc golf with him, but I'd seen him like around, and so he, Andy, and I all played Peace River. And he'd reached out to me and wanted to like buy one of my discs, and he got a pin as well, so that was really awesome. And Peace River is a fairly new course to the Lakeland, Bartow, Florida area. And the first time I played it, I think I've played it like 3 times now, maybe. The first time I played it, it was earlier on. It was very overgrown. I really didn't enjoy myself.
Hmm.
But the next 2 times that I've played it, I've enjoyed it way better, and especially this last time that I played it. Um, I just had so much fun and was really playing lights out like I did. I just did really, really well. All 3 rounds that day, I played really, really well and felt super good about my game. So I played Peace River, and then me and Mel, that's Mel Henson, but a different Henson. Her and I had been wanting to play a casual round for a while. So we'd actually planned that like a month before. And we were like, oh, yeah, it'll be like the day after the Women's Global event. And we were both playing the Women's Global event, but like it'll be fine. So we played Lois Park, which is a really fun course. And had a great time, loved it. So that was my second round of the day. And then the third round, so Andy had played the first round with me, so he hadn't played 3. So he played 2 rounds that day, and I played 3. And I don't know, just afterwards, I was kind of like, you know what, I still sort of want to play disc golf. And I think maybe he even, I can't remember whether he or I mentioned it, but I know I was thinking it at least. I think maybe he mentioned it. He was like, oh, you want to play like disc golf? And I was like, actually, yes. I felt exhausted in the morning after my first round. I was dead. It was so humid. I was drinking so much water, and I felt extremely dehydrated.
Hmm.
And then I don't know what happened. I just got like my second and third wind throughout the day. And I was like, let's go, let's play a third round of disc golf in one day. So we went to this really awesome 9-hole course that's not too far from where we live. And we played that twice over. So to make it 18, and also did super well. And 2 of my 3 rounds were over 200 on UDisc, which usually you can know that if you're at 200, so it goes from 0 to 300 is the rating system on UDisc. If you're over 200, you can pretty much guarantee that that would be an over 900 rated round, at least, like solidly, like maybe 910, 915, something like that.
Hmm.
um felt really good. Saw a lot of turtles, and we saw some alligators and butterflies and all different kinds of things. And they're just a lot of really beautiful, beautiful courses and locations in Florida. So
See, I mean, I
that was
get turtles. That's great. But alligator, y'all have a great day. I'm out.
so the alligator was just the strangest thing too. It was like out away from the water, and there were a lot of people all around, and it was obviously very scared of the people,
Hmm.
because shortly after I saw it, it like saw movement from people, and it like I mean, it booked it back to like near the water, and as soon as it got close, it like kind of slowed down, and then it went back in the water. But I was kind of surprised that he was all the way up there out on land.
Just
But I
out
mean,
getting a
usually you don't have
suntan.
to worry. Go ahead.
I said
Sorry.
he was just out getting a suntan.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think he must have been trying to get a snack or something. He's like, yeah, these people never know. And then he saw us and he was like, ah, I'm scared. Let me go back in the water. I mean, usually you don't really have to worry with alligators. They're generally more scared of humans than humans probably are of them. So yeah. Um, anyway, let me see what's a good like stopping point maybe would be. Um, hmm, yeah,
You want to talk
I
about the Judge Havoc?
okay. Yeah, yeah. So,
And we get in right there.
yeah, let's talk about that, and then we'll finish. So,
And I do have one question from the chat, so we'll get to
okay,
that after
awesome.
this. Mhm.
All right. So, I was getting to the end of the fundraiser disc that I have. You have one like up on your wall, there. If you
It's
want to point
right
point at
there.
that one there. Yes.
It's also one right there.
Yes. Beautiful. And then I have my elephant design too, which you actually got one of those, right?
I did not.
Oh, did you not? Okay. I
No.
was thinking you did. Oh well.
Uh,
Okay, he got another one of. Okay,
yes.
mine is.
But this
I
is a
mean, it is.
special one. We'll be talking about this later.
Okay. Um. Anyway, few months back, I had this idea for a disc, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit on here. I haven't talked about this at all with anybody yet. In fact, I haven't even really talked about it much with Judge Havoc. I did a little bit.
All right. So
Um,
people in the chat, don't say anything.
this is
Just
insider
us.
information. Well, it's just nobody else knows about it. So, and they may not. I may not talk about it anywhere else. Who knows? It just depends on like time and what happens. But anyway, so obviously, anyone who has followed along knows that the lotus flower is. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm so happy to help. I love that.
Now, the real question is, whose forehand form? Is it mine or is it hers? Because she's got a lot better than mine.
um, so anyway, the lotus flower is very special and important to me, and the lotus flower was put in both of my fundraiser designs this year. One was my design, which is the one that you have. I designed that one entirely, and then the other one is a very gorgeous, very um that's funny, very gorgeous, very colorful uh elephant, but it also has a lotus flower crown on top of it. And it signifies a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into all of it, but essentially, a lotus flower starts in like the muck and mire usually, and it grows up into this beautiful flower. So it's kind of a picture of adversity and going through trials and other things, and fighting, like being a fighter and coming up out of that turmoil and the hardships and making something very beautiful from that. And I love that. I love the picture of that. I love sticking it out, working hard, even when things suck, and knowing that, hey, like something's going to get better. There's going to be something beautiful that's going to come from this pain, from this hurt, from this hardship. So that's kind of what the lotus flower symbolizes to me. And I've been thinking for a long time, and the lotus flower would come up in a lot of different ways in my life, and then this new thing is very similar, and it kept coming up a lot. And unintentionally, I had put two songs that had this title. It's called Phoenix. So the main theme and design in my next fundraiser disc, which if anyone has been following my stories, then you will have seen it very briefly in one story. I showed two designs. So if you follow my stories, then you will have seen those. And that was just one of the designs. He actually has two different designs out of the phoenix. So that's me, my face as like a phoenix. And that's also the idea, is like coming up from out of the ashes, out of the fire, rising up, being a fighter. And I like to think like fighting for the good and standing up kind of for what like I believe in. Because, you know, even like my character has been questioned at times with things, and like that doesn't usually bother me at all, because like I know who I am and I know what I'm about, and I know that like my I have good intentions, and I'm trying to do my best, and I care about people, and I love people, and things like that. But it's it's just represents so many different things, and the phoenix, and so I kind of had the idea of that design, and then also incorporating the lotus flower in that as well. So it's pretty bad a I don't want to like cuss on here exactly, but it's pretty badass, I'm not gonna
Pretty
lie.
sick.
It's pretty sick. It's pretty awesome design, and I'm really excited about it. We have a couple other things, and there's also a chance that it is going to be a tournament disc as well for an entire tournament. So we'll see if that ends up working out. But I'm very excited about it. I love stuff like this. Like any of my designs has like a lot of like deep meaning in it to me, and so when you're getting my designs, you can know that I had like a huge part in that. Like especially this Phoenix design. Like I went back and forth with Judge. So Judge Havoc, he's from Canada, he did the elephant design, and he's been working very closely with me on this Phoenix design because I kind of had a vision, and so we would like go back and forth and back and forth. And I couldn't tell you how many hours like we've gone back and forth, with this design where he's worked on something, tweaked something, we've gone back and forth. So he's been so amazing, and I'm really thankful to be working with him. But that's going to be my new fundraiser disc, and my plan is to put it out this year. Like it's not going to be my 2025 fundraiser disc, it's going to also be a 2024 fundraiser disc.
Nice. And by the way, you actually say on here, it's freaking sick.
I did put that on there.
Yes,
It was freaking
in
sick.
the notes. No, BA, but it's freaking sick.
Yeah, I was
I
I
mean,
was
if people haven't seen it, I saw it. You had the two options. They're very similar, but the one I picked, it was a little brighter in the back and had
that
glowing
was my
better.
favorite.
And I
Yeah.
was and I was like, I really like that. Now the other one,
So
it's
those
very
aren't
like
the two different designs. Those were just two different tweaks of the same design. So there are two different
oh,
designs.
complete. Okay,
Nobody has seen the other design yet.
okay.
It
Well, I
was
mean,
still
because
it's
like I say,
still in the
that the one
works.
I saw, you had the two images. I could tell the
Yeah.
one was a little different from the other one. But
It was just the background. Yeah, the
yeah,
background was very
yeah.
slightly different. And I
Hmm.
agree. I liked the one with more of the white. It kind of
Hmm.
helped like the figure stand out more. But surprisingly, when people voted, there were a little bit more votes for the other one.
They're not cool.
You all are cool. All of you guys are cool. Anyone who voted, honestly, thank you for voting. I really appreciate it.
Anyone who voted for A was cool.
So,
All right, we have one question, and I think this is an interesting question. Simply Incredible Disc Golf. Any putting tips? Now, mine is this: is I've opened up my stance a little bit more, almost like have my feet almost in line with the basket, and I bring it the disc down to my opposite hip and try to just reach out, just kind of really reach toward the basket. Like they said, like you're shaking hands with the basket, and that's
yeah.
that's helped me. But let's talk to someone who's actually knows what they're doing.
So the one thing about putting is that there are so many different ways to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing, it's nice, but at the same time, it's also makes it very challenging because you can get a certain putting style or form and be like, but is this the best? Would I do better if I tweak it and change it a little bit? And if you're like, I was, especially within the first like year or so, I was practicing like all the time for like an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time. I would just love just practice, practice, practice. And I was constantly like making little tweaks, making little changes, just anything that I could do with putting. So I've done like a ton, and I was changing putters. I was like trying all different kinds of putters. Um, so I would say a lot of things work. I do love and I don't always do this myself, and sometimes I kick myself when I don't, especially in like tournaments, but it's really like that follow through with your hand. If you're going up in a certain direction after you release the disc, don't stop.
Yep.
Let your arm continue to go forward in that same motion, that same direction. I've heard people say two different things about like a target and your aim. Oh, what about aiming?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I was just about to get there. So I've heard some people say you're supposed to aim past the chain, past the basket. I've kind of tried to do that, but honestly, I haven't had a lot of success with it. I do think that it could be valuable if you can aim through, then yes, you do want to put enough on the disc to where it would keep going in that same vector
Mm-hmm.
into the chain and through the basket. But I've found that it's very valuable for me to just focus on one chain length. Um, if I'm tending to miss low, then I try to aim at a chain length that's a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really just try to push the disc into and through that specific chain link and really hyper focus on that one. Like everything else goes away. I'm not worrying about people there, people walking, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's me and that chain link. And I then finally, I would say, if anyone else doesn't have any other specific questions about putting, Andy and I were just talking about this the other day at the tournament. Andy is a pretty phenomenal putter most of the time. And he had a guy at the Majestic, because Andy also played that one as well with me. He said, "How often do you practice?" And Andy was like, "Rebecca, how often do I practice?" And I said, "Yeah, he pretty much never practices. He doesn't practice. He doesn't practice at all." And I do think that you need a certain amount of time of practice to where
Yeah.
like you have a solid putt.
Mm-hmm.
But once you have that, I promise you, disc golf is so much a mental game. It's so
Yep.
mental. So what Andy does, and this is also what I do or I try to do most of the time, but sometimes it's a struggle because this is just a very difficult aspect of disc golf because it all has to do with mental game, is you need to 100% believe that you are going to make that putt. Believe, like, if you tell yourself after you miss a putt, "Oh, I'm a terrible putter. I'm a bad putter. I can't putt." Well, guess what? You're going to be a bad putter. You are going to miss that putt. You're not going to be able to putt. You really need to believe. And sometimes maybe that is going out, practice putting, making a lot of putts that you're very comfortable with making,
Yep.
that are short distances. And after every single putt, say, "I'm a good putter. I'm a good putter." Like I literally spent a whole round doing that because I was struggling so much with my mental game and with my belief in myself that I could putt. And I was like, "You are a good putter. You know how to putt." I just made this like very short, like 2-line mantra almost, if
It's an
you will. "I'm a
affirmation.
good putter. I can putt." And I kept doing it and I kept doing it. And then I found that when I can focus on that and really believe that I'm going to make that putt, I make the putt pretty much every time, you know.
My thought is you work on your putting, and then like you said, once you get your putting, to me, when I get to a course now, I will throw a few short ones just to see it going into the basket, see it going into the basket. Then I'm like, okay, I see it going to the basket. Now I can take it to the course.
I mean, in
That's,
our practice, in our casual first practice round together that we were able to do in Charlotte,
mhm.
right out the gate, very first putt on hole one was a circle two putt that you made. So
I didn't even get to practice.
yeah, no, we didn't
I would
practice.
have missed it if I had practiced. And he says this,
Anyway,
and we have a joke on the podcast. Is there a side you like? And right hand, backhand. We always say right side is the pro side.
yeah,
You want to come in on that side because
right
if
side
it
is the
goes to the
first
left
side.
side, it's most likely just going to kind of chain right out.
Well, because most putters do not putt Anheuser.
Hmm. Yeah.
So if you're putting on hyzer, then if you're on the left side of the chains, you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna hit those, and
Yeah.
it's going to
Going to chain out.
go out. It's gonna
But it's
chain
not
out. So
only
if you
that;
want to hit that,
it's also the spin of the disc will grab the chain and pull it
yeah,
in. But if you're on the opposite side, it will spin out of
yeah,
of it as well.
yeah, I agree. There's
And
multiple reasons why the right side is generally better. I'm gonna
yeah,
say just barely right, because
yeah.
obviously you can be too far right to where you hit and then you hit like the basket and then you flop out.
I mean, right side is the right side, left side is the wrong side.
That's what they say.
Yeah, yeah. The sound when you make a nice shot, yeah, yeah.
All right. Do we have any other questions
That's all
from
we
the
got.
audience or
That's
any
all we got.
questions from you?
I got nothing.
Awesome. Well, I think
Oh,
this was good. We did a pretty decent job of sticking around an hour.
okay. I did want to mention this. We reached 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so excited.
Look
And
at that.
I'm officially right now making the announcement. This is going to be the giveaway. When I met up with Rebecca, we actually had her sign one. So this will be our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So I don't know how we're going to decide this, but leave at some point. I want to make an actual video, and we're
It hurts.
I never get to make any of these cool things, but that's okay. But we're going to make a video, and everyone that comments down on it, be sure you're subscribed to us. Definitely be sure you're subscribed to Rebecca on Instagram so you can see all of her stuff
Yeah.
and all her.
Follow me on Facebook if you want.
Yes, yes, she's multitasking. So, but
Yeah.
I will be giving that away for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Very excited for that. We've worked really, really hard, really, really hard. And there's
Yes. He has worked
and
really, really hard.
what?
I said, yes, he has worked really, really hard.
Who are you
I've worked
pointing
really,
at?
really hard, but on different things.
Who are you
Pointing,
pointing at?
that's where it is on my screen.
Oh,
If I'm
really?
here, it shows
Yeah,
that, yeah,
I'm
it
on the
shows
opposite
that I'm
side.
pointing to you.
I'm on the opposite side on mine.
Looking
There
at
I am.
that.
Yes.
That's interesting. I wonder
Yeah.
how it's going to actually be when it's posted.
I don't know. Wait. Okay. Hey. All right. All right. This is where she is. You point at me.
That's where it shows that you are
Okay.
on my
Okay.
screen.
Is she pointing at me right now?
Yeah, answer. Please answer in the
That is
comments.
interesting. That is interesting. Anyway, we're rambling again. This is how we go like 2 hours.
Dude, exactly. We're gonna have to cut it
Yes.
off.
Yes. All right. But come back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, and we're going to have the second half.
Yeah. Or
Mooglee
maybe the
says,
second, third. Who knows?
yeah.
Who knows?
Because I know Thursday I have a disc golf tournament. So, yeah, the weekly.
So okay, so Mooglee, you said he's on the left. Does that mean I'm pointing at him though?
No.
Because I see that you're on the left on my screen, but it shows that I'm on the right. So this shows me pointing at you.
It's so funny.
I don't know. We'll
Because
figure it
on
out.
mine you're just pointing out like if I'm pointing right here.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I don't know who's saying nope to. Thank you so much, everyone who watched. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a while since we got one of these out, but it was super fun. And I feel like it was enjoyable to just do kind of like a recap of a lot of things that was happening. And it was also very eye-opening for myself as well, like I said. So thank you as always, Daryl. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely a lot of fun. Next one, a lot of stuff going on, including yet another victory. So we'll be getting to that. I'm excited to talk about that.
Yes, definitely.
So join us tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, everyone in the chat.
Au revoir.
Wow. Yeah, you had to top me. You guys have an incredible day.